Hello, my name is Julie. Today in Jackanory we are going to be listening to a story from the book of Genesis about God's amazing promise of a baby to Abraham and Sarah. And then as Mothering Sunday is approaching, we are going to find out why many years ago young girls and boys walked long distances to visit their mothers and attend churches where they had been baptized. In God's promise of a baby, Abraham and Sarah were told by God to travel a long distance to the land of Canaan. Here is a picture of what it might have looked like thousands of years ago. God made a promise that they were going to have a child called Isaac. Look out for a name change. Abraham's name changes to Abraham, which means father of all nations. And don't forget, Isaac means laughter. A Child Called Laughter by Bob Hartman. So God said to Abram, I want you to leave your country, your kindred, and roam. Your children will bless every nation on earth. Follow me to your new home. Now Abram was old and his wife Sarah too, without any children, not one. But he trusted God's promise and followed his lead and went till the journey was done. Beautiful, prosperous Canaan land was the name of his destination. But I still have no children, said Abram to God, so how can I start a great nation? Look up in the sky, God whispered to Abram, count every star that you see. I'll give you more children than all of those stars, even more than the sands in the sea. And just to make certain his promise was real, God even changed Abram's name. You're Abraham now, which means father of nations, and yes, it does sound much the same. And then one fine day 3 visitors came and sat by the great oak of Mamre. Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah a quite sprightly 90. Abraham offered his guests a fine meal, then hurried into his tent. You bake the cake, Sarah, I'll cook a calf. We'll find out why these gents were sent. The food was delicious, a proper feast. We'll be back in a year, the guest smiled. By then you will have one more mouth to feed, a baby, a son, Sarah's child. Alone in the tent, Sarah listened amazed. She chuckled and then laughed out loud. Why is she laughing? The guests asked as one. We know what we're talking about. And so the guests went out, and within the year, as promised, God answered all of their dreams. Sarah gave birth to a boy they called Laughter, for that's what the name Isaac means. This story teaches us to trust God and to be patient while waiting for his promises to come true. Abraham and Sarah waited a long time to have a baby. God made a promise. When Abraham and Sarah arrived in Canaan, it was the perfect place to have a baby that would eventually start a great nation. Have you ever waited a long time for something? it can be very hard to wait patiently. As Mothering Sunday is approaching, we all want to show how much we appreciate our mothers, and many of us would also like to visit a church. Mothering Sunday is a day to honour our mothers and mother churches on the fourth Sunday of Lent. This tradition can be traced back 500 years to the Middle Ages, when people would either visit the church in which they had been baptised, their parish church, or their cathedral. In 1913, a woman named Constance Adelaide Smith revived this tradition and also encouraged young working people who were often maids living away from their families to return home to see their mothers. The young girls were given a day off from their duties so that they could travel home, and they often liked to pick flowers as gifts along the footpaths. Also, Mothering Sunday was a day off from fasting during Lent, so it was a good excuse to take ice buns and simnel cake made with fruit and topped with marzipan to enjoy at home as a special treat. Later, in the 1900s, Mothering Sunday cards became popular to give to mothers too. In your pack there is a card for you to decorate and give to either your mother or to someone else who is special. You may like to draw a vase and stems with leaves. You can scrunch up tissue paper and stick down petals to make a colourful picture. What messages can you write inside your card? In order to remember the Mother Church in your pack, there is tissue paper to make a stained glass window. Stained glass windows are often seen in churches. Think of a design, then stick down the paper and carefully stick the frame around the edge of your colourful design. And with permission from your grown-ups, you may be able to hang up your stained glass window where you can watch the light shine through. Have fun. Bye for now.